Greetings, my name is Letang Moshatlo. This is a narrative presentation on how my lesson plan integrates JLZ concepts such as instructional communication and sharing the classroom as a social space. The subject chosen for the lesson plan is Life Sciences Grade 12 in the FET phase. The lesson plan is on the human eye as the topic. The lesson plan shows how to integrate instructional communication theory into authentic classroom practice, creating meaningful learning experience that honor both the effective communication and the classroom shared as a social space. Now we can look at the relevance of JLZ 300 in my teaching practice. Understanding instructional communication enables us, the teachers, to design meaningful and purposeful interactions that support learning, foster trust, and create inclusive environments where all learners can thrive in the classroom. This goes beyond what to teach, but it focuses on how to teach, emphasizing that every lesson is a communicative episode. Now we can look at how the JLZ 300 concepts are applied in my lesson plan. Firstly, we could look at how instructional communication is used in my lesson plan. The theories and strategies of JLZ 300 instructional communication are directly applied and seen throughout my lesson plan on the human eye. This demonstrates a conscious effort to facilitate learning through effective communication. A specific example from my lesson plan could be the teacher immediacy concept, where the use of verbal and non-verbal communication is crucial. The verbal use of encouraging phrases such as valid point when a student gives a response to a question and affirming these responses with gentle gestures goes a long way in encouraging an inclusive and inclusive learning environment. It is also noted that the use of proximity for classroom management, such as moving around in the classroom during the lesson, goes a long way in creating a controlled environment for learning. Lastly, the language proficiency. It is also noted that there is a need for teacher awareness in understanding the importance of code switching and creating a conducive learning environment. This shows an understanding of the importance of language proficiency, such as using classroom English to effectively explain, clarify any misunderstandings, and manage the classroom, especially in a multilingual South African context. Now we can look at how the lesson plan links with the concept of sharing the classroom as a social space. My lesson plan consistently reflects the concept of the classroom as a social shared space where learning is a collaborative and interactive process that is built on mutual respect between the teacher and the learners. It is important to note that the repeated use of phrases such as to foster the classroom as a social space and share the classroom as a social space in the lesson plan. This moves away from a purely teacher-centered learning experience to one that values the interaction and shared responsibility by both the teacher and the learners for a learning environment that is conducive. We can also look at how the lesson plan talks about how to manage diversity and foster inclusivity in the classroom. Firstly, we could look at how collaborative learning is used in the lesson plan. For an example, the activity where the learners are supposed to label diagrams in pairs fosters a peer interaction and cooperative learning, creating a shared and collaborative social space between the learners. Secondly, we could look at how the lesson plan plans to address learner diversity in the classroom. If you go through the lesson plan, you could see that there's a clear consideration for diverse needs by using large images and models for learners who may have difficulties seeing the small letters or the small visuals. There was also incorporation of audio in videos to accommodate those learners that are visually impaired. Lastly, we could also look at the use of code switching as a direct strategy to support the learners with different languages backgrounds, such as in the classroom South African context, which is multilingual. We can look at the significance of understanding communication skills. This exam equivalent assignment has provided me with the opportunity to understand that expert subject knowledge is not enough without instructional communication skills. My future teaching practice will be profoundly shaped by the skills that I've acquired in these JLZ 300 modules. The ability to create a clear lesson plan, build positive relationships, and facilitate an inclusive learning environment to transform the classroom into a social space between the learners and the teacher, and also to adapt language understanding for proficiency. It is what transforms a learning or a lesson plan from being just a delivery session into an inclusive and effective learning experience for both the learners and the teacher. Communication skills are the key essential tool for making learning accessible, engaging, and effective for every learner in the classroom. It is important to note that there's a difference between planning the lesson and delivering the lesson, because there are some anticipated challenges that could arise during presenting the lesson. For an example, time management. Implementing interactive and learner-centered activities during just the 60 minutes of the lesson could be very difficult. The solution to this could be adequate planning and timing, such as seen in the lesson plan. The use of timestamps could be crucial in managing the time. Being flexible and ready to adapt to the pace based on the feedback that is given during the lesson is important. A second challenge could be balancing authority and approachability in the classroom. Teachers need to establish a fair, firm, and friendly presence in the classroom, which can be challenging for a new and young teacher such as myself. There's a risk of being too authoritarian or being too lenient or losing control of the classroom. The solution to this could be consistently applying the established classroom principles which were negotiated with the learners at the beginning of the year. The using of minimum amount of authority could manage the behavior and helps to maintain a positive learning atmosphere without escalating the conflicts in the classroom. With all that being said, we need to move forward together as educators because we hold a profound responsibility, which is to create classroom spaces where communication builds connection, where every learner feels seen and capable, and where learning feels personal and meaningful. This is our calling. Through intentional instructional communication, we don't just teach content. We teach learners that they matter and their thinking matters and that they belong in the classroom. Thank you.